It's the boy, Bubba, let's coming through. Hella clutch, flawless, can't be touched. It's your boy, Bubba, let's. Yeah, I need that hot take. I need the truth and everything that is not fake. So tell me who's
Welcome back, Bubba Bunch, to another edition of the Bubba Let's Sports Podcast. It is episode 211, joined by Kevin. It's been a minute. We've missed a lot of football with you.
Yes, it has, because unfortunately, school has started, and my life is back to being a virtual hell.
Bastards.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, these school days have taken over my life, but managed to sneak away just for a little bit. Finished my homework a little bit early today, so was able to come on for today. Let's get it.
A really good time too, because I did the review for the conference championship games, which in reality, I would have liked to have you on there, but honestly, I talked for 50 minutes straight, and like 40 of that was just the Green Bay Packers game,
Which I'm ready to talk about as well right now soon.
I feel like if we would have added you on, it would have been the same thing, but an extra 50 minutes.
But probably because as I just said, as you'll come to find out in the next coming minutes, I have a lot to say about these Packers. A lot, specifically the front office, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Well, that's why I feel really good about today's episode, because I just want a continuation of what I was teasing yesterday about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. And
yeah,
he was on the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and he was saying like, well, no, like I'm not, like I want to stay, but let's be honest, it's a business. And then also the Green Bay Packers organization came out and said, well, we're not idiots. Like if we let him go, then we're just dumb. And so it kind of leaves the idea of like, it's like there's a slight chance that happens. Very slim.
Yeah.
But based on the history of the last few years, like of these quarterbacks staying with one organization, and then now they're just like, I want a different opportunity. I want a different landscape to work with. And it's worked out pretty nice for a guy named Tom Brady.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of funny how Tom Brady was like, hey, whichever team wants to go to next year's Super Bowl, call me. I'm waiting. And he did it. Like, if not... I will be the first to say, because one of my predictions before the season started, I'm sorry, something got in my eye. One of my predictions for this offseason was I did not think the Bucs were going to do much this season. I'm not going to lie. I saw the roster and I saw that they were grouping a bunch of talent, but I don't know. There was something in me that just didn't really feel like it was going to mesh all together in just 1 year. But I stand corrected. Look at them now. They're in the Super Bowl, so obviously something worked out.
It did take a while, though. It really did.
It did.
It took the end of November and then into December for me to really feel like, okay, this team is on to something. And they're clicking now. It's what we've been waiting to see out of them. And they proved that first game with Green Bay wasn't a fluke.
Yeah,
and, I mean, they looked good to a certain extent. I do think that the 3 interceptions by Tom Brady were kind of like, well, that I can understand one, maybe the second, but once you go down 3 and you're losing the turnover battle, it's like, well, Green Bay had plenty of chances to win that football game, and it's only for Green Bay to blame, really. So I've sensed that in the AFC side, like the Chiefs are definitely the best team in the AFC, and they proved it against the second best team. And I'm like, okay, they're Super Bowl ready.
Yeah.
On the NFC side, I was like, it's like I was expecting more. I was expecting more of a performance, a very complete performance out of either team, whether that's Green Bay or Tampa, and I just didn't get that.
Yeah, for me, my biggest issue, and I said it multiple times on this podcast throughout the season, my biggest issue with the Bucs was how inconsistent they were. They were extremely inconsistent the whole entire season. And I remember telling my friend that's a Bucs fan, I hated watching the Bucs. I hated watching them because how could a team that was that loaded on talent be struggling like that the way they were? But like you said, after November, they started figuring some things out, and it ended up, leading to a pretty, I wouldn't say dominant playoff, but a very, like they proved all their wins in the playoffs, at least to a point where it's like, okay, like we're not a dominant team, we're not a perfect team, but we will do just enough to get by. And well, it worked, and now they're in the Super Bowl. So like I said, I stand corrected from the beginning of the season. But I don't know about you, sir, but I'm ready to sound off on these Packers. If you are, if we're going to go the opposite side,
go ahead.
All right.
Let
me set up for this one, because I'm very adamant about this, and everybody that knows me, that knows football, knows I have this opinion. You want me to be completely honest with you? I think Aaron Rodgers should leave Green Bay. I really do think he should leave Green Bay. I understand that it's probably not the best choice, because the teams that are available looking for a quarterback are not the best teams besides the Saints. But I really think he should leave. I think Aaron Rodgers has been disrespected as a player there in Green Bay. Don't get me wrong. On the defensive side of the ball, they have done their due diligence. They drafted Jair Alexander, absolute shutdown corner. Press the Williams brothers, absolute studs.
Smith brothers.
I'm sorry, Smith brothers. Yes, I was thinking of Preston Williams. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. Them, and then their defense has proven themselves to be a pretty formidable bend but don't break defense, except on the championship game. Kevin King, please get away.
Not a king anymore.
Yeah, no. But so on the defensive side, they've done him they've given him a good enough defense. Fair enough. But then we go to the offensive side of the ball, and this is where I get upset.
I would debate the defensive side just a little bit, but go on.
Well, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they've done the job enough this season. At least this season. Keywords. But like I said, then I get to the offense side of the ball, and this is where I get upset. You mean to tell me in the last 4 years, you have not given Aaron Rodgers a second and formidable wide receiver? Really? Really? So, look, MVS is a pretty okay guy.
We can both agree that what they have right now is good. Like,
it's good.
It could be worse.
I agree with you. It's okay. It's an okay, wide receiving core. However, you cannot sit here and tell me that you would rather have Alan Lazard and MVS over a guy like Will Fuller, Kenny Golladay, Calvin Ridley, all of them,
or any of the wide receivers in the first 2 or 3 rounds of last year's draft.
Exactly. I mean, look, let's be real, and I feel like it was a similar situation with CD. Don't sit here and tell me that as bad as the Eagles should have gone up and stolen CD from the Cowboys, the Packers could have done the same and stolen Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. Come on. Let's be real about this. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that in 4 years, the Packers have not given Aaron Rodgers any other help on the wide receiver position besides Davante Adams. Davante Adams is a freak. He is a absolute, at least in my opinion. We all know how I love DeAndre Hopkins here, but at least for this season, Davante Adams was probably the best wide receiver in the NFL, at least this season. Well, Stephon Diggs has some words to say about that, but still, I just think it's ridiculous. You cannot sit here and tell me that what they have is good enough for Aaron Rodgers. It's not. It's not. And then not even to mention that offensive line. Oh my God. Aaron Rodgers was running for his life every single play in the championship game.
Well, so, okay, on your first point about like what they have right now, like can we just touch on the fact that Davante Adams, like out of college, was not supposed to be what he is now. Like they wanted to develop him, and he was a 3rd to 4th string guy when he got drafted out of college. Like it was like, okay, we're gonna need some time with this guy. And there was a point to where they could have cut him because he was underperforming. he was dropping balls. He wasn't developing to the level that the Green Bay Packers wanted, and there was a strong chance that he could have left and gone somewhere else. But then suddenly Davante Adams just is a hard worker, and I mean he did a phenomenal job of resurging and basically being a Davante Adams 2.0 in his second stint, really mentally, with the Green Bay Packers. And that's when you saw him just grow into the number one weapon for the Green Bay Packers. Yet, how can we just say that, the Packers knew that was going to happen? They didn't know that. They didn't know that Jair Alexander was going to be, in my opinion, a top 5 corner in the league.
Which he is.
They didn't expect Aaron Jones to be the number one back, considering that they've had a terrible history over the last decade or so of bad running backs that just aren't reliable enough. They had Eddie Lacy. At some point they had Ty Montgomery as their running back, who wasn't even a running back for their team. It was a wide receiver they just threw in the backfield. So they've gotten lucky a lot of these picks. And I'm looking through their draft orders, and I'm looking throughout the years, and I'm saying, can we look at one time where we see a wide receiver or a offensive weapon where I'm like, that guy was supposed to be good and is good? Like you said, throughout the years, who have they really gone after as far as a weapon? Tight end, wide receiver?
No one.
The only one that comes to mind is in 2018 where they had Jair Alexander, but Marcus Valdes-Scantling in round 5 and then Equanimus St. Brown in round 6. But it's you waited until the 5th and 6th round to go after a necessity in your offense that would benefit Aaron Rodgers tremendously. That's my problem with that.
I completely agree. In my opinion, it's extremely disrespectful. There's no way that you are treating we've had this discussion before. Tom Brady is statistically and overall, the greatest player to ever play the NFL, obviously. But skill-wise, talent-wise, it's Aaron Rodgers. By far, he is the most impressive quarterback I have ever seen in my whole entire life until Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, give Patrick Mahomes another few years, and I'm like, okay, we kind of get rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So for right now, we're still keeping the title with Aaron Rodgers when it comes to skill and talent. But for the point of this conversation, there is no way that you are treating your quarterback that is arguably going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and you're treating him with zero respect because you're not getting any help at all. Like I said previously, Davante Adams is a freak of nature, but he cannot do it all by himself. Can you imagine? And like I said, this is no disrespect to MVS or to Alan Lazard or to Equanimus St. Brown. However, can you imagine if you had a duo of Davante Adams, Kenny Golladay, Davante Adams, Will Fuller, Davante Adams, Calvin Ridley, hell, even Davante Adams and oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I had him in the back of my mind. Oh, Allen Robinson. Can you imagine? What?
It's over.
It's over. Whoever you cover, if you want to double Davante, okay, cool. There goes Allen Robinson on a post route that's going to burn you. He's going to beat you. You want to cover Allen or you want to cover Kenny, Calvin, or Will? Okay, Davante Adams will just absolutely moss you because he's just so good. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't understand the mindset. How can you sit here and not give your star-studded quarterback a weapon to throw to? If you want to get lucky again, fine, go and get lucky. You know who you got lucky with this season? Robert Tonyan. But he's a tight end. He's not a receiver.
Yeah, he's a red zone threat. He's exactly what Jimmy Graham should have been for them, that he was for the Chicago Bears. And
yes.
Another guy that you're just like, wow, he just came out of nowhere. No one expected that.
And that's great. I think it's great that Robert Tonyan came out because it's another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. But Robert Tonyan is not a receiver. He doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that breakout ability. He's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but he's just not a receiver. And besides that receiver argument, now we're coming back to the line. I'm very well aware that the Packers have two. I think I saw that the Packers have 2 number 1 overall rated by Pro Football Focus linemen in the NFL. That's great. What about the other 3? I mean, Two people can't carry the line. Come on.
Well, I think they've actually done a pretty good job with the offensive line because I mean, a few years back it was bad. It was really bad. But this year, David Bakhtiari, it sucks that he was injured right before the playoff games, and then Corey Linsley has done really good. He got injured as well this year. I felt like their offensive line was good enough. Like it fit to the system of what Aaron Rodgers was doing, where he can step up in the pocket, roll out, and when he had to use his legs, it was very, I guess, a perfect situation because it wasn't all the time like you have to do in like Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. Like, he's not just going to run all the time, but like it's good enough protection on the passing game. And then if you want to run a design run, or if Aaron Rodgers wants to keep it, that is a good offensive line for that. And it just sucks because David Bakhtiari goes out before the playoffs. And the one thing that really killed the Packers in week 6 against the Bucs the first time was the edge protection. And that's with David Bakhtiari. Yeah. So once he goes out, they have to put in like Wagner or who was dealing with injury before the game as well. And so it was just set up for disaster that Jason Pierre-Paul, who is having an amazing year, just dominated that game. Like he really came out in both of these Packers games. So I think the offensive line gets a little bit of hate that is not, I guess, deserved. I understand your concern for that, but when I'm seeing a draft to where you can get T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk,
Justin Jefferson, you literally could have jumped 4 spots to get him. That's all you had to do.
It's not a huge deal, and even in the second round, there is some good wide receivers that could have developed there very nicely and ended up being a nice dynamic duo. But you ended up going with Jordan Love, who has done nothing for you and has been sitting on the bench ever since day one that he got drafted.
That was going to be my final point before we move on to the next segment, where I remember we spoke about this because me and you were heavily invested into this draft. And I remember when Jordan Love got drafted, and I remember I looked at you because I think you were doing your YouTube live stream of the first round, and I remember I was in your comments. And I remember when he got drafted, I like sounded off in the comment section. I was so upset. Look, to wrap it up before I get on another tangent, but I'm very well aware Aaron Rodgers is getting up there in age. I'm very, very well aware. I'm not dumb. However, there is no way that Aaron Rodgers, what? He's 37 right now? 37, 36, something like
36, 37.
By the amount of skill and talent he has, he still has at least 4 years left in him.
Yep.
At the absolute least. And you're going to sit here and tell me that you think it's time to draft another quarterback?
In the first round?
In the first round,
when you could have gotten Jordan Love in the second round easily, in my opinion. I don't think Jordan Love deserved that first round credit or prospect level.
No.
He's a good quarterback. But in that draft, you literally had every offensive weapon possible. The defensive side, there's a few guys where I've been like, I'll go out of my way to get him. But it was more offensively friendly for the Green Bay Packers to draft a weapon in the first round.
For sure.
If you want Jordan Love, I completely understand your reasoning behind that. But you could have waited until the second round because I can't see anybody in the late first round, early second round that needed a quarterback that desperately.
Yeah. And also, this is also, no hate to A.J. Dillon, because A.J. Dillon has shown that he has a lot of potential, and he was their second round pick. This is no disrespect to him, but Jordan Love could have been a second round pick or third round pick. Come on, man.
And if you're gonna draft A.J. Dillon second round with the idea that Aaron Jones is gonna ask for a lot of money this upcoming offseason, and he may not be a Packer either, the fact that you drafted him in the second round and you used him in 3 or 4 carries in the championship game, when in some of those carries he's actually putting all the Bucs players on his back and gained another 8 yards.
Yeah.
Dude's a freak. And you mean to tell me that guy's not going to be your starting running back next year because you might not want to pay Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
Like, he outplayed Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams had triple the amount of snaps.
Honestly, I think Jamal Williams is gone now because of AJ Dillon. What do you need Jamal for?
I don't blame you. I really don't.
Yeah. So,
And by the way, can we just talk about how useless Tavon Austin was?
can I be real with you? I honestly completely forgot he went to the Packers until that play in the first play he was in that championship game.
Oh, you mean the punt return? And that was like one of 3?
Yeah, I swear to God, I was watching the game, and then I heard Joe Buck say Tavon Austin back for the punt, and I was like, "Wait, what? He's with the Packers?"
He's been with the Packers since like week 10, week 9, somewhere around the middle part of the season, and I was
blew my mind.
Okay, I guess like you had the expectation of during the trade deadline going after Will Fuller or another great receiver. And you ended with Tavon Austin, who's left just a very bland taste in my mouth since the Cowboys run, since the end of the Rams run. And I was like, okay, like Tavon's all right. But it's just a matter of how you use him. They didn't use him.
No.
Like Jamal Williams is returning kickoffs. What's the point of putting Tavon Austin on the field if you're not going to put him in the most like impactful part of his game in that play?
Yeah, blew my mind. But I'll tell you what.
That's your big free agent move is Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, Aaron Rodgers, come on, man. Pull a Tom Brady. Go somewhere else.
And that's what I'm saying. Great segue. Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers. What's another good one? I was just thinking about this last night.
I mean, you could use Brett Favre when he went to Minnesota. He went to a championship game.
Fair point. Fair point. There's one other one that I just can't think of right now in this moment. Well, I mean, it's gonna be Deshaun Watson. But
I would like to talk about him later on. But if you want another legend that pulled the same thing, Joe Montana. Oh yes, Peyton Manning.
Yep. It's like
Joe Montana did the same thing too.
It's like you could have stayed in those situations. I think if Tom Brady would have stayed in the Patriots, they would have been a playoff team. They possibly would have had a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. Peyton Manning could have stayed with the Colts and make them great once again. They weren't that talented at that time, but I mean, he made the right move of leaving. And so if you look at Aaron Rodgers, and I said this on Twitter, I'm like, give me one good reason why he should stay. Why? With everything we just talked about, and we just went on a rant for like 20 minutes about why it's shitty that Aaron Rodgers has to deal with this and what he's had to deal with.
Yeah.
So give me one solid reason why he should stay. And the only thing that I got, and the only thing after thinking about it, is like, well, you go 26-6 in the first 2 seasons with Matt LaFleur. You make 2 NFC championships. Why would you want to leave that situation? Like, it could be worse. And I'm like, yeah, but honestly, it could be better. Like, in my opinion, the New England Patriots, with the assumption that they're rebuilding, is ridiculous to me. I don't understand that because they had a lot of opt-outs in their defense, and they're very talented on offense. Maybe get 1 or 2 receivers with Julian Edelman coming back, improve that offensive line. This team is dangerous. That team could really make some noise in the playoffs and be probably the kryptonite to the Kansas City Chiefs because of the game plan that Bill Belichick would put in. But another one that came up, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers played at Cal. His college career was made in Cal, and he lives there. He lives in the California area, and he just fits the mold, right? Well, guess what? I think the Los Angeles Rams are in desperate need of a quarterback they can rely on, not just some guy that gets the job done once in a while. Imagine Aaron Rodgers, and then on the opposite side, you still have to worry about Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think I agree with you. New England and LA are the most ideal landing spots if Aaron Rodgers were to leave because of what you just said. However, I do have one. I have one team that, if this were to happen, I see it as almost an instant Super Bowl berth, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers as a Saint. Let's talk about that real quick.
Well,
Now, I hold on. I think I already know what you're gonna say, but hear me out. The reason why I think the Saints would be a somewhat good move for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, check this out. I brought up this discussion, I believe, 2 weeks ago now or something like that, where I read a report that the Saints are not going to be able to do anything, absolutely anything, for the next like 2-3 years when it comes to big money contracts, right? Because they are like 135 million over the cap limit right now. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. However, if you were to restructure some contracts, cut some players, bring it all the way down to at least a respectable value. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is already 37. He doesn't need a lot of money. He doesn't,
he's
you
got
know.
he's got that State Farm money, that Rodgers
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah. So listen, I mean, I remember Tom Brady signing a 2-year contract one time with New England. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. The Saints sign Aaron Rodgers for like 2 years, max 3, give him a respectable amount, maybe like 20 or 30 million or something. Well, I mean, not 30, like 20 or 25 million in total. I mean,
The only way that
come
could
on.
happen is if they trade, because
For sure. Which they will. I think, in my opinion, they're trading Michael Thomas. He's done with that team.
Wow.
I think Michael Thomas has left a very, very sour taste in the Saints organization.
Well, it doesn't help that you punch teammates, but
Yeah.
imagine that. Imagine the irony of the Green Bay Packers finally go out and get a quarterback or get a wide receiver, and then they lose their quarterback.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan.
Right?
Hey, you got whatever Aaron Rodgers never got. So congratulations. Because I look at the contract and I'm seeing that Aaron Rodgers' current contract, and I heard reports that he is looking for an extension. So ultimately, it's probably going to be with the Packers, but it's fun to fantasize. After, I think it's this year or the fall. Okay, 2021 season. There's a potential out or opt out for him, so that way he can go for a trade or just wants to get released. But he is under contract until 2023, and then in 2024 he's an unrestricted free agent. So really, the only way to get him out of there is through a trade. What I'm saying is the Saints, they would have to give up Michael Thomas and draft picks for sure. And even then, you're kind of like, well, can we really do the money part? But that's why I go back to New England, who has a lot of salary cap space, but look at the history of Tom Brady. It's like we are used to a quarterback in New England having a friendly team deal. He's not going to get all the money that every other quarterback is getting around the league. So look, Aaron, Aaron, look, buddy. Aaron, look, I'm not going to give you all the money in the world. And if we get an extension done, I'll get it done. But just know that that's less money to go after Allen Robinson. That's less money to go after Kenny Golladay. That's less money to go get Odell Beckham Jr. That's less draft picks.
Which is better than he's received over there in Green Bay, I'll tell you what.
Look, he can make it work for what it is now. He has a really solid running game with a bunch of running backs. Pick your poison of Damian Harris, James White, Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel. That's 4. That's literally 4 that you can throw to. Just put him at wide receiver. Who cares?
And shit, if anything, you can use some of them as trade bait. I mean, come on. You really need 4 running backs? Come on.
You don't, because you could just get someone off the street in New England and make them work, because that's what they've been doing all year long.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Bill Belichick is a god.
Yeah,
apparently.
He just makes anything work. So why not put together a team? Either it's Julian Edelman coming back and maybe Dante Moncrief, Jacoby Myers was showing you a little something, and then you have a really good defense that's going to come back together next year. Look, give us a little bit more money off of your contract, and let's not waste a lot of draft picks on you getting you here. We can get you the team that you never got in Green Bay. We're getting a better defense, and we may not have the best offensive weapons, but it's Aaron Rodgers. We'll make it work. Tom Brady made it work. You're better than Tom Brady athletically.
Yeah, if anything, I think there's a certain group of quarterbacks in the NFL where no matter who's around them, they make them look good. Tom Brady was one of them. Aaron Rodgers is one of them. Drew Brees is one of them. Peyton Manning was one of them. I mean, you're just so talented, and you just know how to you're just a football god that you can make one of us look good at the elite level. I mean, it's insane. So
the Bucks game right around or when it became 28-10, and then it was the first drive for the Packers after that, you sense that Aaron Rodgers is like, okay, I'm putting this on my back. We're coming back in this football game because of me, not because of our running game. They just completely abandoned it. And his protection wasn't there all game long. So at that point, that's when you started seeing him step up in the pocket, rolling out, and feel like the prime Aaron Rodgers that we saw from a few years ago, where he's just all over the field and you can't decide what he's going to do or where he's going to go. Yeah. So, I mean, he can do it in Green Bay. Why wouldn't he be able to do it in New England, LA, or New Orleans?
Yeah. Well, Aaron Rodgers, love you, buddy. Hope you get the better. But that's why I like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is very quiet. He's very direct. He doesn't have a reason to be all flashy. But I think we like flashy. And you know who's being really flashy about the situation? Good old Deshaun Watson. He is being flashy as hell with his with this situation right now. And I don't like it. Well, let me rephrase that. I've never liked dramatic situations when it comes to players. I think if anything, that shows what kind of person they are, and I really don't like it. However,
it's deserved.
However, one, it is deserved. Two, if I were to put a top 3 list of, like extremely young quarterbacks right now, tier wise, after Patty is Deshaun, in my opinion. Yeah. Deshaun is an absolute superstar. He literally, he is in that area of NFL players where, he deserves to get everything he wants because of who he is, and I read a report. I think you read it as well. He wants to go to the Jets.
Which I'm already surprised about how he's handling this. I agree with you. It's like on an ordinary day and an ordinary player, I'm saying this is just ridiculous what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be flamboyant.
Yeah, sit down.
This is deserved. Like,
yeah.
I feel like the Houston Texans aren't getting the hint of like, Deshaun Watson doesn't want to stay there. And it just took a blatant, I don't want to be here, for the Houston Texans to be like, well, I guess we can't fix it. I guess we're done here. And so my immediate thought is New England, of course, because that's just who I am. I feel like New England always just finds the steal. And it makes perfect sense for someone who has a lot of salary cap space and a lot of draft picks that they don't necessarily use well in most cases. And they can send it to Houston, which they desperately need. And you get Deshaun Watson. And you can have Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham if you want, whatever. Or from the early reports, Miami, which also great fit. Love it.
It would be.
I mean, it would just be like what Tua is, but now 10 to 100 times better because it's consistent. It's reliable quarterback play, but a guy who can be a playmaker that Tua just doesn't have yet. And plus the report that says that he's lost the locker room already.
Yeah.
It's very concerning. So I'm thinking like, oh, New England, Miami. I've heard even reports of Washington, and I was like, you know what? That could be the dark horse pick because they have something there. And they made the playoffs with no quarterback. They honestly had a chance to win that game against the Bucks, but Heineke could only do so much. And so bringing Deshaun, maybe another wide receiver, and I think that group would just be stunning to watch.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's just like, I want the Jets. And I'm like, you know what? You go to the Jets.
Yeah, real.
I want to see it. I love seeing Cleveland rise from the ashes and become just the most lovable team in the NFL. You want to see the absolute underdog succeed. Have we just all grown to just think like, let's just have a year where the Jets do good? Like,
man,
they're due for one, and we all want to see it, right? Let's make the AFC East, which is looking pretty damn good next year, even better. Let's throw in that fourth team, and let's get a division with whoever is the New England Patriots quarterback. It could be Aaron Rodgers. It could be Matthew Stafford. We'll get to him in a second. It could be Deshaun, whatever. And then you have Josh Allen. And then you have Tua, or if they want to go for a hot shot out of college, they get Kyle Trask or Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, whatever.
Or Mac Jones, whoever.
Or Mac Jones, who's got the dad bod of the century. And now the Jets.
Yeah, dad bod, yeah.
You go after Deshaun. Imagine Deshaun versus Josh Allen.
Oh my.
Imagine Deshaun Watson leading Robert Saleh and the New York Jets to their first divisional title in probably close to 100 years.
Oh.
A little exaggerate about that.
No, it's right. Don't.
But
no,
it feels like 100 years.
It
right?
feels like 100 years, yeah.
Because the last good thing we've had about the Jets is Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan.
Okay, well, I like Rex Ryan, so I won't disrespect him.
Well, I will.
Not as a head coach, but as a defensive
what
coordinator.
then?
As a defensive coordinator, wasn't that bad?
Oh,
wasn't that
God.
bad? He wasn't that bad. Come on. Compared to his brother?
Give me Mike Nolan.
Compared to his brother was horrific.
Rob Ryan with those lovely locks of his was a sexy man to watch on the sideline. I kid you not. But could not coach a defense to save his life.
But Rex Ryan was considerably better. We can both agree on that.
Oh yeah, I'm being a dumbass here.
Okay, all right.
I don't get the hype. I don't get it.
Okay, well you can. Relax.
But we can both agree that if your last winning successful team was led by Rob Ryan or Rex Ryan, and Mark Sanchez, but fumble himself,
yes,
we got some problems.
Yes, we do agree here on this one. However, it's kind of funny because we were talking about how Jacksonville was a very, very appealing and very interesting situation for like coordinators and personnel to come in, right? Now the Jets are in the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, the Jets are in the picture now, right? So. We were talking about Jacksonville with Urban Meyer coming up with his own coaching staff already. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jaguar. You got the players that are already there, right? But now we got the Jets in the picture. So Robert Saleh, we mentioned this before, absolutely amazing hire, 100%. I am so happy they got him. Now we're here that they are going to revamp their front office. Wonderful. Finally, get them out of there, my lord. And then Robert Saleh is now going to revamp his coaching staff. Okay, this is it. This is where everything starts getting into motion. You are clearing out your front office. Wonderful. You're clearing out your coaching staff. Wonderful. Robert Saleh is going to make his own coaching staff. And now you have the possibility, besides revamping your whole entire organization and staff.
No, go on.
What?
I'm just going to confirm it because I saw the report and I read into it, but I just want to make sure.
Okay. Well, what I was just saying is that besides the fact they have all that, now you have an apparent verbal commitment to a certain extent that Deshaun Watson wants to be your quarterback.
Kevin, let's think about this for a second.
Okay.
Robert Saleh comes from the 49ers and an offensive genius in Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
And we remember the story about the two brothers in last year's NFC Championship between Matt LaFleur and Mike LaFleur.
Yes.
Mike LaFleur coaching. Was he the offensive coordinator or an offensive assistant?
He was an offensive. Yes, he was an offensive assistant. Mm-hmm.
And I mean that that offense was just so fun to watch last year. And I know it had a lot to do with Kyle Shanahan, but the influence that Mike LaFleur has, and he comes from that tree, Mike Shanahan tree. Sorry. So what does Robert Saleh do in his first move as the Jets head coach?
He goes and gets his former friend and former, I guess, teammate, if you can say, when it comes to personnel.
Hires
And
Mike
brings him
LaFleur,
over?
who is also an offensive
Ooh.
genius like Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan, as his offensive coordinator just like a week ago.
Yeah. So, and then you bring in Deshaun. Now, the only downside, which to a certain extent it really isn't a downside if you're talking about bringing in Deshaun Watson, but the only downside about bringing in Deshaun Watson is that you will lose the second overall pick. You will. And you could have used that to get Penei Sewell. Absolute monster. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature to help guard Deshaun. So, it sucks, but you're also still getting Deshaun. So it's kind of like more of a win. But
I mean, it's the pick that originally should have gone to the Houston Texans.
yes.
But because of a trade.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
No, they were
They
number
were
3.
going to go to Miami. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would go back to its rightful owner who needs it.
Yeah. If anything, they would jump their original pick.
Would have been 6th?
No. So Miami, okay, so Houston technically owns the number 3 overall pick in the draft. But because of the debacle and the absolute murder that Bill O'Brien did over there, now it's Miami. So they would eventually, I mean, in essence, jump their original pick to get number 2 instead of number 3. If this were to happen, which I hope it does, but I mean, is it worth it? Yes, you're getting Deshaun. I agree with it. I think they should do it.
Was it I think it was a collective like group of NFL executives that said that the estimated value of Deshaun Watson is at least 3 first-round draft picks.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that report as well. I saw the report that he is estimated as 3 first-round picks, and depending on the team that you are, because every team has a certain variable in what they could give, 3 first-rounders and a player. So
who would be the player? I mean, would it be Sam Darnold?
Probably. You would have to probably give Sam Darnold to the Texans to, solve the not solve, but to at least alleviate the quarterback issue now.
Poor guy, man.
Poor Sam Darnold. By the way, speaking of the Texans, did you hear that no one wants that job, and it has become so bad that they are interviewing players. They're interviewing players.
You get to the bottom of the barrel if you're going after Jim Caldwell as your head coach. And
oh my god.
But you know what kind of level you have to be at to interview Josh McCown, who has had 0 head coaching experience, 0 coordinator experience, and up until that report came out, I thought was still in the league.
I thought he was with Philadelphia for a while.
Oh, he's been around the block.
Until that Week 17 game where, Doug Peterson threw away his career. I don't know.
I thought his last team that he was on was the Jets.
No, it was Philadelphia, because I remember there was a funny story that Philadelphia called up Josh McCown during a Sunday Night Football game that they were playing. And he got the call, and then the next day, like Monday or Tuesday, he was in practice.
Okay. Give me your number at how many bodies he has in the NFL. Hence, how many teams has he played with?
He has to have at least half of the league, so 16.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, no, wait. The Hartford Colonials. Like, what? Come on now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12.
Wait, so you're telling me he's still a backup quarterback for the Houston Texans right now?
Really?
I was today years old when I found out that he is still on the active roster for the Houston Texans.
Wow.
Kevin,
Wow.
you were right about him being an Eagle after being a Jet.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that story specifically because Al Michaels thought it was hilarious that he got called up during one of their broadcasts. So he told that story, and I thought it was funny
So
too.
you mean to tell me that we give all the credit in the world for Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning for being in the league for like well over 15 years, closer to 20. And yet we give no damn respect to Josh McCown, who was drafted in 2002 out of Sam Houston State. He would be going back home. He's home in Sam Houston State.
Yeah.
Houston,
Yeah.
not that far off. Wow.
Well,
it's a match
Deshaun
made in heaven.
it is, but I guess so. We can move on to the next topic because you got me on that one.
Wait. Okay,
Deshaun,
who do you think will be the head coach for the Houston Texans at the end?
who do I think?
Yeah.
I honestly, because of how undesirable the position has become, and because of how many reports there are that nobody wants it, I really do think that the Texans head coaching job is going to end up with someone like Marvin Lewis, Jim Caldwell.
That's literally what I was thinking. I was like, Marvin Lewis is gonna be there.
Yeah, I really do think it's gonna be. And no disrespect to Marvin Lewis, I do agree wholeheartedly with Stephen A's point about him, but still, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be anybody.
Jesus Christ, they didn't even put him in a uniform for the Texans. They still are using the Jets picture.
Yeah.
On the website for the Houston Texans. Man, this guy's got a chin. Jesus.
Yeah.
What's that character
guy's a
name
baller.
from Fairy Odd Parents?
The Crimson Chin.
The Crimson Chin. That's literally Josh McCown.
Guy's a baller, dude. Guy is a baller.
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, stay young, sir.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
hopefully this Deshaun Watson saga ends in a good way with him going to either Miami or the Jets. But we'll see. But please, sir, segue into the next quarterback we're going to talk about because I actually completely forgot about him, and I'm ready to sound off on him as well.
The Texas raised Matthew Stafford. What did you call Darius Slay? What did you call him when we were talking about
bum?
No. Like you call him like Mr. Wheelchair.
Oh yes, Mr. Wheelchair. Mr. Can't stay on the field, unfortunately.
I mean, is that what Matthew Stafford is at this point?
Look, unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately. However, and I'm ready to sound off. So, Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, I want to say this correctly. Matthew Stafford, under the circumstance that he would have been on the right team all these years, with his talent, with his mindset, I honestly think he could be a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's how talented I think he is. Because there have been seasons, there have been plays, there have been moments where you see Matthew Stafford do the things he does and no one notices. No one notices. Why? Because he's a Lion. Nobody cares about the Lions. Come on.
Yeah, you can't be a part of a team that went 0-16.
You see, and see, that's the thing too. But
like you can't be the leading quarterback of an 0-16 team.
Matthew Stafford is so unbelievably talented. It's ridiculous. And we've talked a lot about players that have had their careers wasted, with the Cowboys, that have had their careers wasted with other teams. But I think you can make an argument that Matthew Stafford has to be in like the top 5 list of like players that have had their career wasted. because my lord, he is so unbelievably talented. He is tough as nails. I mean,
Yeah,
that game, that game where he separated his shoulder and still threw a game-winning touchdown. Are you serious? Oh my God.
I'm sorry that they didn't. My bad. Matthew Stafford wasn't a part of that team. That was in 2008.
No, that was the Dan Orlovsky days.
Yeah, the Dan
I don't
Orlovsky
remember
days.
that.
And John Kitna. Don't forget about
Yeah.
him. When
Yeah.
So my
But
bad. Wasn't
I think Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford got drafted the same. Oh no. Matt Ryan was drafted 2007. Matthew Stafford was, I think, 2009, wasn't he?
draft pick? Yeah, 2009.
Yes, 2009.
So then
But anyway, to get on to my continue
my
my point,
bad.
just sorry to continue my point, just saying that I really do think that Matthew Stafford could be a Hall of Fame quarterback if he were on the right team. He is so extremely talented. He does some things that, if Patrick Mahomes were to do, the world would stop. And it's really unfortunate, and I really do think that it is time, and I'm very happy that he is finally leaving Detroit. Maybe he'll have a good couple of last years with another team. Who knows? We'll see. But Matthew Stafford deserves way, way more than he was ever given in Detroit. And just saying, there was another player that played for the Lions that got his career wasted. And at least in my opinion, one of, if not top two greatest receivers of this past decade.
God, that felt like so long ago, right?
And remember a couple years after he retired, he literally came out in an interview and said, "I retired because of the Lions organization." How bad, how garbage do you have to be to basically, in essence, force the retirement of one of the greatest wide receivers we have ever seen in the NFL?
You could honestly use that sentence again and put running back. Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
How do you let it happen twice?
And now
in their prime.
Yeah. And now in essence, well, Matthew Stafford is not in his prime anymore, but in essence, you could use it for a third time with Matthew Stafford.
They wasted his career. 100%
How, dude?
They wasted his career. I wouldn't go as far as him going in the Hall of Fame. Now, my standards of going into the Hall of Fame if you're a quarterback are much higher than what people are used to. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think Eli should be in it. I honestly can make the argument that Phillip Rivers doesn't deserve to be in it. And Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, like, they put up the stats and they're Hall of Fame numbers, but they're not Hall of Fame guys to me. Though the season I was thinking about was the year that he got drafted. They went 2-14. But they were just bad all around for many years. And I mean, he tried his best, right? Like, he did all he could. There were some games where he either led the game-winning drive or they would give up the game-winning drive. Like, it was no in between. They were in every game and they just couldn't finish. And they've had really bad coaches over the years.
Horrific coaches.
So it's about damn time that he leaves, right? But isn't it just like a little bit too late? Like, I feel like the injuries have just piled up to this point to where everything on his body is broken. And I could totally see him going to Indy. I mean, doesn't Indianapolis make the most sense because they tried it this year with Phillip Rivers, but I feel like you would get a better upgrade in Matthew Stafford for that offense. And he finally gets his chance to, I mean, go for it, right? He's only been to the playoffs like once, and that was to the Cowboys.
Yes.
I think that's his only playoff appearance. And honestly, the Lions should have won that game.
Yeah, that was clearly pass interference, but
Hey, if they don't call it all game long, then be consistent.
Yeah.
Heard that before.
Heard that.
I'd say if you're Frank Reich, if you don't want to get, maybe you go with someone in the draft to like let them sit for a year, and then you go after Matthew Stafford, because other than that, I don't feel like you have a lot of options
No.
in free agency unless you want to go after Jameis Winston, but Saints are going to keep him. Taysom Hill, stop. Like Matthew Stafford just plugs into that offense so well, and
He does.
maybe at max give him 2 years because they have that window.
Yeah.
Like the Colts team itself has a window. Every team has
They do.
a window.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did good this year, and they played a good game against the Bills. I thought the Bills were just better. But the Colts actually played very well in that game, more than my expectation. Next year, they'll get better.
Yeah.
And
Also, I don't know if you read it, but very sad news coming out of Indianapolis. I think it was last week. Anthony Costanza retired. He was one of my favorite linemen in the NFL, and he is now gone.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he retired, and it sucks because I loved him. Him and Quentin Nelson were the dynamic duo on that line. So now Indy needs another lineman.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah, so now Indy needs another lineman. But yeah, I agree with you. I think if anything, Matthew Stafford does fit in well with the Colts. I don't know what the situation is over there in Pittsburgh with Big Ben, but you could possibly maybe see him in Pittsburgh, maybe for the last 2 years. But I don't know. I think Indianapolis is the better choice when it comes to a team that needs quarterback.
That's a good point because I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do.
I don't know either.
I have the feeling that they want Big Ben to come back.
Yeah,
because
I feel like they
it's
want
Big Ben. Like if he wants to finish it on those terms of losing to the Browns, humiliating as it was. Like he played well for a majority of the season. Like I'm coming back from that elbow injury was tough, and he played really well for 11 games, and they lost 5 of the last 6. I sense that they just don't want to fully invest in Mason Rudolph, even though I thought that was going to be the whole plan all along. But
no,
I don't see them going with anybody else. They signed Dwayne Haskins, by the way, which I don't get.
I don't get either. I don't agree with it at all. Yeah, I don't know. So, really quick, I guess we could use this to round off the
episode.
Yeah, the episode. Let me ask this question, and I think this is a really cool way because I saw the list the other day. We're obviously not including Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott is coming back to the Cowboys. It's pretty damn obvious. However,
well, it's day 587 and they still haven't signed him.
Well, yeah, but you know how Jerry likes to poke for everything.
You know what's my favorite thing? Is
what?
Going on Twitter every day, and then it's like early in the morning, and someone's like, wow, today's a really good day to sign Dak Prescott to a contract. I'm like, you know what? I like your style.
Yeah. So obviously besides the most attractive options of, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, if he leaves, he's not confirmed, but we're speculating, Deshaun Watson and all that. You have a pretty lengthy list here of quarterbacks that could possibly, do something.
Is Josh McCown on this list?
Gotta
be top 10.
I don't. No, he's not. No, he's not actually. He's not. But okay, so
technically Lamar Jackson's a free agent.
Is he?
Yeah. Like he could go somewhere else after the season's
over.
Oh,
you're right. He is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like 99.9% sure that he's going to re-sign with the Baltimore Ravens, but
yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway, so check this list out, right? Okay, so we're already including, like I said, the 3
big ones.
So now you got this list right here, right? Check this out. So Mitchell Trubisky, right? So
he's going somewhere else.
But where? And oh my God, I don't have my light on, so it looks like I'm getting a flashbang in my face. But Mr. Trubisky could go somewhere else. And
I say we name off the players and just first team that comes to mind.
Okay, I'm not for that. Ready? So I hate you. I know what you're gonna say with this. Dak Prescott.
As much as I want to say every other team in the league other than the Cowboys, I'm going to say the Cowboys.
I hate you. I hate you for doing that.
Why? Like it's the obvious one.
Okay. Well, anyway. So Dak Prescott, Cowboys, at least for me. Jacoby Brissett.
See, you know what? I think it's just me on here, and I could be the lone survivor on the Jacoby Brissett bandwagon. I think he's a competent quarterback.
I do think so as well. I thought it was a lot of disrespect the way he was being treated by a lot of the NFL.
I say they keep him. I think he's a solid backup for the Colts. He knows the system. They'd rather just stick with him, and I feel like he wouldn't be worth a lot of money. So I think he stays in Indianapolis, and if they want to trade him later, cool. I think Jacoby Brissett deserves a starting job somewhere, but I'm okay with him staying in Indy.
Okay. Jacoby Brissett, I could agree. He's a competent backup. Mitchell Trubisky, where's he going? This is a hard one.
See, the harder question is he a starter wherever he goes?
That is the other question. So, okay, I'll tell it to you this way. I mean, I'll ask you it this way. Yes, he is a starter wherever he goes. Where's he going?
If he is a starter, Denver.
You read my mind. Wow. Like, I was going to say Denver too, actually.
I saw that and I was like, it fits, right?
Yeah.
It's just like John Elway doesn't know how to pick quarterbacks. It's reported that he stepped down.
Yes, he did. He did step down.
And so he's still in charge of the personnel.
But he's not the GM anymore.
He's not the GM anymore. I think the streak continues of bad quarterbacks. I think if there is the potential of Mitchell Trubisky coming to Denver, I say they just hit the trigger and they say, Drew Lock, I'm sorry, buddy, but I honestly think Mitchell Trubisky can do well in Denver.
You know how I like Drew Lock, but I think it's running out of time. So you literally read my mind.
Yeah,
I was going to say
I'm sorry.
Denver
It's the only one that really made sense to me. Maybe Las Vegas, because I don't sense that John Gruden wants to stick with Derek Carr, and Marcus Mariota could go somewhere else. And it kind of makes sense. Like, you go from the cold weather to the cold weather, and he's used to that. Maybe the high altitude may change a little bit, but yeah, I think that Denver, who's getting a lot of their guys back due to injury, will just need a reliable quarterback that doesn't need to just be flashy. And I felt like Mitch showed a little something there toward the end.
Yeah, I could agree. So I will agree with you and say Denver. Like I said, you read my mind, so you're kind of a wizard for that.
I'll definitely say it's the AFC. Like, he's going AFC.
You think he's going to be AFC?
Yeah, like no matter what, he's going AFC.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. So, mind you, this is a list from Adam Schefter. Love that man. Love that man. So the list is called 10 quarterbacks whose futures are in question. Okay,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So on to the next one. We talked about the first three: Deshaun, Aaron, Matthew, and then we talked about Dak, and now Jacoby, and now Mitchell. Sam Darnold. Look. I've already said it, and I think this would work for Sam Darnold. Okay, me personally. There's two teams that come to mind when I think about Sam Darnold. Two teams. The first one we mentioned, which is Houston, involving a trade.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one, because he's still young, because it looks like they're starting to revamp their organization, but they're still garbage. But you never know with this new head coach and new GM and all that. I think Sam can maybe go to Detroit and replace Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
But however, it would only work if they keep getting Kenny Golladay, because Kenny Golladay is they're a number one, and Sam needs a number one because he's never had a number one.
It would be an upgrade, right? As far as your offensive game plan, you have a lot
Yes.
more to work with. You don't
That's
have
no-
a 43-year-old running back.
That's no disrespect to Matthew Stafford, but it is an upgrade.
Well, I'm saying it's an upgrade for Sam Darnold. Like,
It's
it's a downgrade for the Lions, but really, who wants to go there other than being drafted? And so it's a downgrade for the Lions, but it's an upgrade for Sam Darnold because now he actually has some offensive weapons and he has a good running back that has a solid future.
Yeah, I also see it as an upgrade because you have a younger quarterback that is more mobile than Matthew Stafford, so you can do a little bit more things with him. But yes, those are the teams that I think. What about you?
I say Pittsburgh.
If
they really want to move on from Big Ben, I think Sam Darnold is the way to go without going through the draft. Other than that, maybe Cam. Like I could see Cam in a Pittsburgh uniform or Chicago Bears uniform. I don't know why. I always imagined Chicago going after Cam, but I think what's best for Sam Darnold, I think he stays in the East Coast, like Northeast Coast.
Okay, fair enough. Carson Wentz. Wentz.
Hurts done, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because of Nick Sirianni being hired and his relationship with Frank Reich, who was the last real coach to develop Carson Wentz, and develop is a lack of a better term, but I think the game plan is for Sirianni is to see Carson Wentz one more time. Carson, this is your last opportunity. This is your last chance. If you don't show me something, I'm going with Jalen for the rest of the year, and we're getting you out of here. But
okay.
So I feel like he stays in Philly as long as he doesn't crap the bed.
Okay. For me personally, Washington. I think Washington is a quarterback away from being a pretty great team. I've always said that Carson Wentz is a very, very talented quarterback. He's just these last 2 seasons with his injuries and his decisiveness. I don't know. I feel like Carson Wentz is the perfect model of a quarterback that just needs a fresh start with a new team. And
yeah, because I still think he has something.
I do. Even though I don't like him because he's an Eagle, but in general, I do think that
I want to believe in him.
I do think that he has the talent. So if he goes to a team like Washington, where he has a good defense, he has a good they're starting to understand that they need to get more offensive weapons. They got Scary Terry, they got Antonio Gibson, baller, monster. Steal,
a very good tight end that was supposed to be what Jordan Reed was supposed to be.
Logan Thomas
Thomas is a freak.
Yes. So you never know. Maybe Washington will work for Carson. I think he might stay in there.
I kind of like that because there's that story too of the underlining, like, we stay in this division and I can go after Philly for regretting their decision.
Exactly. Jared Goff. Jared Goff.
Who wants Jared Goff? Like, who goes out of their way to get Jared Goff?
Jared Goff is.
Oh man.
Jared Goff is a story and a half. He is a story and a half.
So 100% in my heart, I believe he stays with the Rams because they're just, if they don't get the big boys, then they'll just stay with him. Now, if I'm fantasizing about where he would really fit well, what about the Raiders?
That's a good one.
I feel like that's just like kind of like under the radar. Like, it would happen and everyone's like, okay, like, all right, cool. Like that. It's just a balanced offense with Josh Jacobs and Jared Goff. Just try to get him back to that feeling of Todd Gurley, like in his prime.
So that's funny you say that you would send Jared to the Raiders because of the fundamentals that they already have over there with Josh Jacobs and, like the resurgence of Nelson Aguilar. They could get another receiver. But when I think of Jared Goff, I think Chicago. You got David Montgomery.
That's better than mine. I agree with you on that one.
You got David Montgomery, that is a beast. He just needs to pick it up a little bit throughout the season. You got a pretty good offensive line, a decent offensive line. You got a pretty good defense. You have, and we spoke about this multiple times already, you have 2 now second-year wide receivers that, if they have an okay quarterback, would actually be game changers.
They played very well toward the end of the season.
Yes,
I
they did.
was on the Chicago Bears bandwagon. I had them upsetting the Saints.
Yeah. Now, I think we both can sit here and say that Allen Robinson is not coming back next season. He's not.
I wouldn't if I'm him.
No, he's not. But they could get someone else. So, yeah, I think Jared Goff will go to Chicago.
What if we stick with the attractive quarterback? I mean, the handsome devil himself, but now we bring in the blondie, San Francisco.
That's funny you say that because the next quarterback on the list is Jimmy G.
I am going away with Jimmy Garoppolo if I'm the 49ers. I need to find something else. I'm going after every guy that we just named before Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo goes back to New England.
Wow, I could see that actually happening. Yeah. So I could see that happening, but also when he leaves, because I read reports like those like rumors that are like super beginning rumors about Derek Carr going to San Francisco, like in a trade.
I am all over that.
Yeah. So if Derek Carr were to go, they could do a trade of Derek Carr for Jimmy G.
I would need a new pair of shorts if that happens. Because if I'm the 49ers, I got to steal.
Yeah.
Steal of a quarterback who deserves better.
We already talked about Cam Newton. Well, you did. I'm not a fan of Cam Newton.
It's either he gets a shot with Chicago.
Yeah.
And he ends up being the backup there, or he goes back to Carolina.
Okay. Speaking of Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater. Now,
he's a backup next year.
He's a backup. I as much as I want to agree with you, I do think there is one team where Teddy Bridgewater will go to if nothing ends up working out when it comes to the player portion of the trade. I think Houston. I think Teddy Bridgewater to Houston.
Yeah. They would get him. They would get him cheap. They would. He has no other option really to be a starting quarterback, unless you want to go. The most attractive place to go would be Miami. And I feel like Miami, because they like Tua, so they'll like Teddy as far as a reliable guy that can just make a high completion percentage, nothing crazy, get the job done.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like he would fit in Miami.
Yeah. Last two, so we can end off the episode. Heavy quarterback episode, I guess.
I love this. I want to do this all the time.
Last two, Alex Smith.
I think he'll try to go in free agency, but I don't think teams touch him. I think he'll retire because he's not getting offers.
I have to sadly agree with you. As much as I loved the comeback, he is winning comeback player of the year. Let's be real.
It was written in stone when he got on the field.
As much as I love Alex Smith, I do not think he is being on an NFL team next season.
An underrated career, though.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Great period in San Francisco. Great period in Kansas City. Never won the big one, but was a solid quarterback that put good numbers up.
For sure. And the last one, to end off the episode, one of your favorite quarterbacks to talk about, Big Ben.
It's either the Steelers or he retires.
I think
can't even imagine him being in a different uniform.
I think he's done. I really don't think he's coming back next season.
I hope he doesn't, honestly. I don't feel like he has that same spark to the offense that he used to.
There's
he's not a game changer anymore.
These last 3 seasons have proven that he's just not it anymore. He's not. So yeah, I really.
So
yeah.
Who would be Carolina's quarterback next year? Because as much as I want to believe in PJ Walker, I don't think he's ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think if the XFL comes calling, it's back to that.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Andy Dalton.
Oh, fuck. I was so excited for what you were going to say, and then you hit me with the gunslinger himself, the red, what is it called?
The red
Red Ranger,
oh,
rifle,
red rifle.
red
Red
rifle.
rifle. Yes.
Oh God! You know what?
Oh,
Why did I have a dream about Andy Dalton like a few nights ago? What? Let me
Did you
rephrase
really?
that. Let me rephrase that because that came out really wrong.
I'm
You,
about
you
to
know
say-
what? I was at Target and I was grocery shopping and Andy Dalton was there. Gave him, I had a little chat with him, and then Eric
Oh.
Bieniemy comes out of nowhere. I'm like, dude, why aren't you a coach yet? And he's like, I want to be a coach. And that was the same day that that he was at a press conference. He's like, I want to be a head coach. And I was like, whoa.
My
I
man's
think I've been watching
dreaming.
too much football.
Yeah, I think so. Also, before we real quick,
Andy Dalton.
Adam Schefter tweeted 2 hours ago, teams already are reaching out to the Detroit Lions to initiate trade talks and figure out what it would take to acquire Matthew Stafford. Teams, plural.
Oh yeah, no. Like,
Wow.
That shocks you?
Well, no, not that it shocks me, but it's like,
Or, like the timing of it, like already.
yeah, because free agency starts in March, and I'm very well aware that teams like to do their early work so that they can get it right away. So they can have
like
that.
the day of the off season starts.
Yeah,
They
I'm
sign
very-
immediately.
I'm very well aware that they do the early work, but this early, damn, that's crazy.
What is Matthew Stafford worth?
What is Matthew Stafford worth?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever team he goes to, their quarterback. And is he worth a first rounder though? Like second round, for sure.
Second round, easy. Or what you could do is he is worth the first round, but that's it.
So a player and a first rounder.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing more. Absolutely not.
It depends on the team, because then maybe you can get away with a player and a second rounder. I'm not willing to pay a first rounder for him though.
I am. But like I said, it has to be a bundle. Like you would give them a player and then a first.
I'll give you 2 second rounders before I give you a first.
Ooh, that's a good argument. Yeah, I could agree with that.
So Matthew Stafford, the Colts. That's what we're thinking.
Yes, we agree on the Colts.
Okay. Well, sir,
Mega quarterback episode. I like this.
I want to do more of this. I just want to just name off players and say where they're gonna go, based on no reports or anything or sources. Just why not?
There's wide receivers this offseason that it's time. It's time. So as many quarterbacks as we named off here, there's probably the same amount for wide receivers. So we could do that.
And some running backs. We can throw them in there.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Yeah.
This is gonna do it for this episode
Yes, sir.
of the Bubblehead Sports Podcast. Shorter than I thought, but from our standards.
For our standards.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to go eat because I've eaten nothing the last day and a half.
Oh,
So
that's not good.
No. So this does it for episode 211. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow. Make sure to subscribe. At 92 subscribers as of right now. Highest sub count we've ever had.
8 more, baby.
8 more. And I feel like it's going to come very soon. Follow us on TikTok as well. We're going to be posting highlights. And, of course, on all social medias, we'll post the best clips of the episode. And, Kevin, thank you again. And we'll see you next time.
You're welcome.
On the Bubblehead Sports Podcast.
Yeah, hold on. Tell me who's your top 5 quarterbacks right now, dead or alive, huh? And how much do you care about a ring if the best player got carried by the team? Now, would you lose if it been a better draft pick? And do you cuss when your team get their ass kicked? Now, do you keep